Sorry. I was having a mango plant in my garden today. So
How can you have a mango plant now?
yes.
Ma'am, we are live, ma'am.
One of amla and one of I wanted of mango.
Okay.
So,
One minute.
shall I start, ma'am? We are live.
Madam, shall we start, madam? Wait, 2 more minutes, ma'am.
Yes.
Let's see, madam, shall we start?
Yes, Deepa.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. You can proceed.
Okay, ma'am. So, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining Shield Connect. And I welcome all the participants and delegates and all the doctors to join for this important session related to yoga. As we all know that yesterday it was International Yoga Day. So for this, we have the webinar on healthy aging series 10 tips and tricks of yoga, sponsored by Chennai Menopause Society and Krishna Acharya Yoga Mandira. So before we start with the session, let me welcome our MOC, Dr. Deepa Thangamani. So Dr. Deepa Thangamani, ma'am, is a obstetric gynecologist consultant in Apollo First Med Hospital and in Thamarai Fertility Solutions exclusive from Chennai. But the current post is ma'am is joint secretary in the Association of Tamil Nadu Members of Royal College of Obstetrician and Gynecologists and joint secretary of Chennai Menopause Society. An area of interest is vaginal surgery, gyne endoscopy, high-risk pregnancy, obstetric emergency, assisted reproduction, and infertility. Ma'am has achieved many awards, ma'am has present many papers and posters in the international conferences and world congresses, given many invited lectures in national and state conferences, coordinated and organized many clinical meetings and skill workshops under ATN RCOG, written a chapter on toxicology and pregnancy in textbook of medicine, coordinator of MRCOG teaching programs, and clinical examiner for part 3 MRCOG 2019, and ma'am is member of OXY, ATN RCOG IMS, CMS IAG, ISOPARP, SOCI, AOGIN, past member. Okay, ma'am. So I will hand over the session to our Master of Ceremony, Dr. Deepa Thangamani. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thanks for the nice introduction. And I'm glad to share that this is our Healthy Aging series. We are entering into the 10th Healthy Aging series. Today's topics are tips and tricks of yoga. It's along with Krishnamacharya Yoga Mantra, and Chennai Menopause Society is organizing these programs. And we start the program with lighting a virtual lamp lighting. Can you share the screen, Nishan?
Chitra?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Next, we'll move on to our prayer, midlife prayer. Pray to God to give us a grace to accept the midlife physical changes and gently renew our strength. Guide our heart, our mind, and body to navigate the way and trust in you to lead us safely through. We pray for midlife and mature women who cherish fond moments of their life, and also for those sitting in a doctor's office or who are in a bed asking for healing touch. On this day, may all the midlife and menopausal women have the gift of joy, hope, and good health. Thank you, God, for the promise of hope you hold out all midlife and menopausal women, and inspire us to give this gift of hope to others. Thank you. Next, to welcome our today's program, to give the welcome address, may invite our President, Siba Madam, to give a welcome address. She is the President, Chennai Menopause Society, and past President of Obstetric Gynecology Society of Southern India, and past Indian Menopause Society Education Committee person.
Yes.
And she has
Deepa, enough, Deepa.
What, ma'am?
A very good evening to one and all. Respected Dr. Shobna, President IMS, Dr. Mahinder, past President IMS, and dear friends. On behalf of Chennai Menopause Society, it's my privilege to welcome you all for this webinar on tips and tricks of yoga. I'm extremely honored to welcome Dr. Shobna, President Indian Menopause Society, who is a dedicated menopause physician, and she is keen on conducting pan-India study on vasomotor symptom. It's my pride to welcome Dr. Mahinder, past President IMS and President of Society of Midlife Management, who always believe in holistic healthcare for women. She is interested in dance, exercising, and so on. I welcome you, madam. It's my privilege to welcome who is a consultant from Yoga Mother, and she is basically a pediatrician and interested in child development, Kartikeya. Her main interest to take yoga a tool as healing. Welcome, Dr. Kartikeya. I welcome you all. I am special welcome to all delegates. In this connection with International Yoga Day, we arranged this webinar. As we all know, yoga improves strength, balance, flexibility, and yoga helps with pain relief sometimes. It can ease arthritis also. Yoga benefits heart health, helps to have sleep better. I'm sure at the end of the webinar, we will have some tips to practice yoga in daily life. And once again, I welcome one and all.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, may I invite our guest of honor today, Professor Manindra Ahuja, madam. She is past President Menopause Society. She had achieved various posts in forms, SAFOMS, VP, and web in charge in 2014, and currently Director of. She is the President of Society Meaningful Life Management, and she's authored many books, and she has original research on age of menopause, the determinants of age of menopause. She is an editor-in-chief of JMH, national and international faculty in many conferences, of many awards and felicitations. Thank you, madam. It's a pleasure to be here with you, madam. Kindly address the gatherings, ma'am.
Thank you. Good evening to everybody. Thank you, Dr. Deepa, for the kind words. And thank you, Chennai Menopause Society, especially Dr. Hepzibah, for inviting me to this very passion of mine, the lifestyle modification, the passion of mine. And exercise is, of course, one of them. And exercise has many forms. But before that, I have to welcome and say thank you to Dr. Shobna Mohandas, because actually it's in her presidentship that all these things are, all these programs are happening. So Dr. Shobna is doing her research on the hot flushes of menopause, and we wish her best, and all of you have to contribute. And at the same time, I'm doing on the relationship of menopause to metabolic syndrome. So again, our Google Forms and cross-sectional studies. So apart from that, now we come to the main thing, why the International Yoga Day is there. Actually, yoga is not an exercise, it's a way of life. And we have changed a lot over the years. Our life expectancy has increased. So much so that initially in 40s, women did not reach the age of menopause even. But now they have to spend more than 1/3 of their life in the menopause. So that means now in this life where they have finished their duties of being a mother, a daughter, a daughter-in-law, a sister, and everything, now they want to do for themselves also. So this is the time when they should be living for themselves. But that they can do only if they are healthy, physically as well as mentally. And if you are not healthy, then they cannot enjoy and they cannot contribute positively to the society. And keeping this, because of the healthy aging concept, which the WHO has taken as the decade of healthy aging from 20 to 2030. And all those countries in the world, they are expected now to work in a way so that the healthy people can have a meaningful life. So that was my purpose of starting this society of meaningful life management, so that whatever we can do should have an impact, not only us, but on the society also. So the change is the constant thing, but then with the change in the economic circumstances, in the life expectancy, we have to change our behaviors. And that is where the yoga comes to your rescue. Because yoga is not just a exercise, it's a way of life. This is how you should be living. This is when you get up, when you should be doing. When you are sitting, but how you should be sitting. When you are standing, how should you be standing. And when you are breathing, how you should be breathing. So all these things, they impact your mind. So that becomes a meditation in itself. Automatically, you just don't have to meditate if you are doing the yoga poses in the right way. As our specialist later on will be telling you, you start meditating, you start stretching your body, your range of movement is there, your tone of muscles is increased, your circulation to various parts is increased, and mental as well as the physical health is better. So, but the thing is that we have to work more on yoga. And I think the more observational, not only, but the randomized control trial should be done in the yoga in different forms, comparing them to the normal exercises which you are doing in a very aerobic and strength training and everything. So these exercises should be compared as far as the effect on the osteoporosis is concerned, on the sleep is concerned, on the mood is concerned, on so many things is concerned. So we need more work on yoga, but whole world at this time is looking towards India and for yoga only. So that is what I have seen the change in the last 10, 15 years is really people have become interested in yoga. So Hepzibah, I congratulate you on your this wonderful webinar, and I love to be there till the end so that I can also learn new things. Thank you, Hepzibah. Thank you, Shobna. Thank you, Deepa. Thank you, Karti, and all the members of the Chennai Menopause Society. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Now it's my pleasure to invite our chief guest, Dr. Sobna Mohandas. She's the president, Chennai Indian Menopause Society. Sorry for that. And chairperson, Suman's Dr. being IMA, and past president, secretary generals, and past member, Fox. Madam, over to you. Kindly address our gatherings today, madam.
Yeah, good evening, Chennai Menopause Society and Maninder Madam, Siba, Shanti, Deepa, all my dear friends. Now, new friend Ramani Rao. I met her at the dance exercise sessions that we have every Sunday by Indian Menopause Society. Sometimes Maninderji also comes to grace me, telling me, "You have not danced correctly, Shobna." I said, "I am not a good dancer. How can I dance correctly? I am only here to make other people dance. I can never dance correctly." So that is what I am. So Hepzibah is a very active person. She does activities not only in academics, she does it in yoga, she does it in music, she plays the organ, and she has a finger in every pie that you can think of, and every day she devises something new. And that is, I think, because she wants to increase the endorphin levels in her body so she doesn't get sick. And she wants all of us to increase our endorphin levels so none of us get sick. So it's a good thing to have yoga here. I'm not a very, very big expert on yoga. I'm very sure that just like dance exercise that I am promoting in Menopause Society Center, all the branches have been doing yoga yesterday. I don't know, some 10 branches have done some yoga sections yesterday. So for lack of space, Hepzibah is turned her activity to today, I think. So Menopause Society is full of yoga this year. That much I can tell you. And it's really heartening to see so much of interest in yoga and staying fit, so that the body is fit, the mind is fit. If the mind is fit, you can serve society better. Thank you, Hepzibah, for calling me here. And thank you, Maninderji. It's a pleasure to share a podium with you. And I hope we have a very good yoga session today, and we all benefit from that. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, you are muted.
Deepa, you are muted, Deepa.
Deepa, mute.
Sorry, sir.
Unmute.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for your words and intro into the yoga sessions. And next, we will move on to the yoga session. To chair the session, may invite Dr. Shanti Gunasingh. She is a Vice President, Chennai Menopause Society, President Oxy. And another chairperson, Dana Madam. Dana Madam is there?
She's there.
Okay, Dana Madam. She's a professor, senior consultant, obstetrics gynecology, SRMC. She's a secretary of Oxy 2022, and she is a great teacher, and she produced lots of young gynecologists. And over to Dana Madam and Shanti Gunasingh Madam.
Good evening, everyone. It is really nice to have our stalwarts of Indian Menopause Society, Dr. Maninda Ahuja and Dr. Shobna Mohandas here with us. And so much has been talked about yoga, so I think we will go directly into tips and tricks of yoga. Can I have the CV of Dr. Katyayani, please?
Nisha, Doctor.
Yeah. Dr. Katyayani is a consultant in child development. She graduated from Madurai Medical College and went on to do her DPMP training in pediatrics and post-graduation in developmental neurology. She has completed her teacher training with KYM, which is a very premier institute of yoga, and is also a faculty for anatomy and physiology at the Mandiram. Her special interest is to take movement as a tool for healing, and is currently working with Spark Institute as a consultant and working as wellness head with Columbia Pacific Communities Caring Senior Citizens. She is also into learning Tai Chi, Urithaimi, Botma gymnastics and spatial dynamics. Move and heal is a strong faith. So we have a very interesting, accomplished person to really give us tips and tricks of yoga, so that we make our life better and make the lives of our menopausal women also better. Welcome, Dr. Katyayani.
Thank you for your kind words, ma'am. Thank you so much. I would like to thank Dr. Hepzibah, especially for calling me and KYM to facilitate me to be in this gathering. In fact, I see a lot of, all of people are all stalwarts, as ma'am said, in the Menopausal Society, and to not talk about. Today, though, I have made my slides and presentations just a little bit on menopause, my understanding on menopause, because I also have attained menopause. So what is my the appealing thoughts which I have towards it, I would like to share with you before we go into the yoga session, if that is okay with you all. Can I have the share slide directly going for it? So I don't need to talk about all the things we all know, but there's something which always I wondered, like, what is so special about being a woman? This was my quest, and it was always, though we've been told that, oh, you got to go through all these problems because you're a woman, you've got you've got monthly cycles and all those things which we were conditioned to believe when we were growing up. But always the question is something special. When I looked up to my grandmother, when I looked up to my great grandmother, the wisdom they had in their eyes and the way they conducted themselves in the family, there must be something to look forward for being a woman. So that has been my question. So what is there to celebrate? How do we see this celebrating womanhood? So I'm sure all of you know about it. Like we have these eggs. This was a message for me. I mean, it came to me much later, this concept of understanding the eggs. Though it was in the fetal stages, it was in the pre-earthly existence itself, it was with us, given to as a part of creation. So before we came into this earthly life, we all had the eggs, millions of eggs in the womb, which is something special messages, carrying so much of special messages from a different world. And it came and opened us up with a menarche. Every month we had a new message. It could be a creative ideas, it could be something which is, and it could be a conception as a baby. So we had these messages all through. So, and also there is something which is so special about women, which I came to know much later, is about the right and left hemisphere being bonded together by the corpus callosum, which is very dense for women. So they say that we have the ability to do multitasking. So I have an access for my right brain, I have an access for my left brain. My intuitive wisdom works through combination of both. So the multitasking again was something special for being a woman. And the mitochondrial DNA is only a contribution from the egg. So we are giving the powerhouse for the cell, the zygote, which is forming. So as you say that, yeah, it is to see the woman menstrual cycle. Something which very appealed to me was by this a book written by Dr. Christina Northrup. I don't know how many of you have had an opportunity to read this, and this was told by, I mean, referred by one of my mentor when I was going through menopause. So she has given every aspect of a woman to be in the how do we start a cycle, and how do we go through the reproductive period, what is infertility, everything in a different perspective. She's a conventional gynecologist who really worked and was very hesitant to put her papers up to say that there is something an energy level we can talk. Being a conventional doctor, it took some time for her to come up with these concepts, and then she put it together in pen. And that is what is a book called Woman's Body and Woman's Wisdom, which is written by Dr. Christina Northrup. So she has said that every cycle we have a wisdom coming in, that is premenstrually, before ovulation, at the time of ovulation, and what happens post ovulation till the onset of menstruation. So she says there's an energy in the upbeat before we ovulate, and there is more of receptivity at the mid cycle when you're ovulating, and from ovulation to the onset of menstruation, we are more inner knowing, introspecting ourselves to see, because we are close to the outer ideas and we are conceiving something inside, and it is more of an inner knowing. And this is where we go into a meditative stage or an inner intuitive stage, which in the normal day-to-day life nowadays, the rat race which is happening, we don't have time to sit and introspect at this time. It becomes part and parcel of our life. So it becomes very difficult. That's the reason probably she says the premenstrual symptoms and premenstrual syndromes are more often seen these days, because we fail to acknowledge this phase before the onset of menstruation. So she brings up about this menstrual cycle. So what does it mean to say that if till we menstruate, we have this concept, and after menstruation, what happens? Where does all this go, and how do we take this thing? So what happens at menopause? That's what she says is like an electrical energy. During menstruation, the ebb and flow of energy is like an alternating current. But in menopause, it becomes intensified and at a steady stream of golden thread, which carries us through in the wisdom years. So we are open ourselves to the wisdom of the universe. So we have, conventionally, we look at it as saying that is a deficiency, and it's about a failure of the ovarian failure, whatever different terminologies. But actually, since it has been linked to the reproductive capability, in a process, we see that, or the society, or the conventionally, we see that as there is something which is a setback which is happening in menopause. But what is actually happening, it's a springtime of the second half of life, wherein the change of life happens, as everybody was talking about midlife, metamorphosis of a woman happens at this point in time. So it's a crossroad actually to say that whether I grow forward or I die at that moment. So it's a metamorphosis. And how do I meet menopause? Why some people have this full-blown symptoms, why some people don't have the symptoms, some people don't even know, and they just step into menopause and that's finished. So what happened? So what Dr. Christina brings forth is an idea. What she says is, of course, it is scientifically proven that at the time of menopause, how do you enter menopause is the way how your adrenals are functioning, how you went through your midlife phase as a crisis, or if there is a crisis, how did you go through your midlife and entered into the menopause. That speaks of your symptoms or non-symptomatic, or you just go say the truth. What does it mean? If I've been too stressed and always in a rat race and I never had time to look after myself and not taking care of my nutrition, and too much outwardly doing things, not taking care of myself, all this are pushing my adrenals all the time in a rush. So I go in for an exhaustion of the adrenals when I enter into the menopause. Why is this so important? She says is because the estrogen failure. When the estrogens are not there, the androgens are the one which is coming to rescue us during this. So androgen actually kickstarts the puberty of a sexual maturity, a body maturing, and it also embraces menopause. So this idea of holding the adrenals in good phase as I have a positive attitude. This is where yoga helps quite a lot to see how can I manage the stress in my life, day-to-day life. Thereby I see this as a stride in my life. In fact, I get more empowered during my menopausal years than I was before. So that's my the thoughts which I picked up when I was going through by reading this book. I thought I'll share it with you. It's actually a passage into the wisdom years, capacity to open to the intuitive knowing, reseeding the community is what I see, the community coming together as menopausal society, and so many things we all are bringing in different ways to the society to add on to that. So this is a part of KOM presentation, which they normally we try to bring in. So I really don't have to do all these things. We know all what is asana, what is pranayama. I'm going to go straight into the analysis, which we had certain statistics I would like to share with you. How yoga helps women through menopausal phase. An analysis of the outcome of yoga practice at the Mandiram, the consultation that gathered, and the symptoms were seen like there's this many percentage of women presented with body pain, palpitation, but mostly people presented with aches and pain, some sort of an exhaustion during the menopausal years. So these are the different categories of symptoms and which presented to the KYM. And the therapy was given, like women received one-on-one yoga therapy sessions with a minimum of 6 to a maximum of 9 supervised sessions. There is a consultation happens in the first to go, and then they're given classes to follow up. So about 6 classes given, and likewise 9 classes given, supervised sessions are given. And then they take the feedback, and that's how the research department could gather the information about what impact does it have. And also some dietary recommendations were given, because Ayurveda is part of the yoga. So we had few according to the constitution, that is your dosha prakriti, they were giving certain nutrition dietetics also, so which also added to the therapy sessions what they did, and they really found a lot of improvement in many of them. So the post therapy reduced the pain symptoms, reduced the mood swings, enhanced the sleep quality, improved the energy and efficiency, concentration was fantastic, and then there was a positive. Important thing what I say is a positive body image and self-confidence. Actually, this is the starting point from which everything else comes back to place. So we had that Vata Pitta aggravation, which is one of the doshas, Vata and Pitta. Each one of us have a Prakriti, which is a donation from our parents and ancestors. So this Prakriti is there with us to lifelong till we die. And that is a Prakriti. I have to keep that in balance. There is a possibility of vitiation of this Prakriti, that is a dosha. Like I'm supposed to be a Pitta Prakriti and I maintain this in a percentage always, then nothing much happens. But if this gets a little up and down because of my variations of activity, variations in food, or variations in the way how I handle situations, then I have a vitiation of this Prakriti. So how do I balance it through food also was taken into consideration. So there are certain food to be avoided, and menopausal symptoms generally it's a Vata deficiated. Vata is one of the 3 doshas, and that Vata is basically tubers. Avoid certain foods and junk foods, which we all know. We talk from the conventional side, the high glycemic index food should be avoided, sugar should be avoided, so that we don't have much of inflammation happening in the body, and we are not stepping into the PCOS, the diabetic metabolic syndromes and things like that. So what we speak in conventional Ayurveda is already spoken, and there is a wisdom in there. So that was step for the Yoga Mandiram has taken that, and they were working along with that. So how yoga helped me as a woman in menopause? There are a few tips which I would like to share. And this is first and foremost, as I said, it's a positive attitude towards life. I joined Yoga Mandiram for yoga session as a group session, as a physical discipline, because I'm very particular, and I never moved even somewhere anywhere for dance, because I found moving the body, always keeping stiff, is prep and prompt, like this is what the doctor carries. So I had a different image about myself when I had to enter into the field of medical profession. But yoga has changed my way of looking at myself, and it's really transformed. Now I see how much a movement can do, empower your self-confidence and image is through the yoga mantra. It was my starting milestone to enter into this. And of course, yoga has got 8 limbs, which we talk about: yama, niyama, and asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. So ahara niyama is one of the main thing which I followed, which is the circadian rhythm, like sunrise to sunset. Eat what you want. After the sunset, avoid eating a big meal. So close the dinner by 6:30, and then nothing much of a macronutrients come into me, like carbs, proteins, and fat. I don't eat it. Maybe a little bit if I are into entertaining or getting entertained in somebody's house, then to avoid the stress factor, a little bit of it, nibbling at food. But generally stick to this rhythm of sun morning till evening, whatever. With before sun, with sunrise and sunset, you could have the meal, 3 meals, major meals. So that is one of my discipline which I followed for the past 15 years. I've been doing that. And the asana practice, which improved my posture and flexibility. So whenever I sit and get up, and how do I get up, and how do I, so the awareness comes into my being when I, after practicing yoga and regularly practicing yoga. Pranayama has given me actually how do I start my day when the breathing process. So yoga, by understanding the different breathing practices, how do I balance my energy? We have a sympathetic upheave and parasympathetic upheave most of the time at each moment in our life during the day. Sometimes we get up in the morning with the energy of, do I need to get up today? I really don't want to get up. Sometimes we have the energy of getting up, oh God, I have to do this, I have to do that, and so much of attention and anxiety to do things. So there are 2 phases sometimes. So we understand when I wake up to understand where am I today, because could have not had a good sleep the previous night, something is not suited me in the food, whatever it is. So the next day morning, how we wake up, understand yourself and do the practices, and then balancing your energy. It really helped me to go through this phase when I won't even call it as a phase. I don't even know what is it to say that menopause. It's just I crossed it. So then I read about it, though when I was entering, I wanted to know, curious about what's happening in me. So that's how, when yoga was my, actually it's a tool for me to understand that point of time. Now, pratyahara, what they call it as, withdrawing your senses from outside. So how it helped me was, I'm always a logical person, constantly to hardly ever work with the creative ideas. Of course, creative thinking is there, but not into handcrafting and then art and painting, music. So like Dr. Hepzibah ma'am, I heard about that she's into all. So I never ventured out anything other than being a bookworm. So now this was my another thing, working in clay, working with beads and forming a women's group and doing craft work was part of my time during that phase. So pratyahara is activities to withdraw my senses from outside, bringing into certain channelized activities. And dharana, dhyana, samadhi is the further step, like to become mindful in the moment. How I brought mindfulness in my movement is like, as it was said, that I'm learning spatial dynamics, which is another very fascinating movement. It talks about the space. And so how after practicing yoga, I went into spatial dynamics learning. So it has really made me to enter into the posture so easily by understanding the spatial dynamics. So this was mindful movement for me. So I learned Tai Chi, spatial dynamics, and then how do I compare it with yoga? So all these are my the mindful movement which I carry, which anchored my mind during this time. So visualization, Mandiram has taught us a lot of chanting, and I took up chanting, Vedic chanting. So we chant on a particular sound, and then or a deity, and then attributes of that, and then visualization. And like, for example, Shakti, energy of Shakti, taking it to us, and then to visualize that, and then doing the practices. That is the way we enter into the dhyanam through yoga. And samadhi is actually, for me, it's how do I sink into this wisdom? Yes, be one with it, so that it doesn't, I'm not stepped out to see there's something wrong in there or something different. So I'm one with it. So I never even knew. So this was the steps which is Ashtanga talks about in my life, where I felt with the menopausal time in my life. So now to start with, we can start with the movements. Basically, here I would like to give few tips. I'm sure everybody is practicing yoga in a different ways, in their own ways. But there are very important steps which I would like to bring in here. One is the principle of asana. Always we do movement and breath together. So for example, now when we start moving, this is a simple arm movement. Okay. So if I'm moving in here and move my hands down, this is a movement. When I connect it with the breath, I inhale and I move the hands, and then I go till here and I exhale, I move the hands down. So this is how the yoga, the asana practices happen. There are certain movements for inhalation, certain movements for exhalation. Now, the principle of asana, what it says is, we have to first breathe. Means I inhale first and then I start my movement. And the movement goes on till my inhalation lasts. And then I finish the movement, and I still have to have some amount of breath for inhalation, space for inhalation. So I should not stretch my breath. I should work within my range of breath. So the movement comes within the breath. So my inhalation capacity could be, say, for example, 3 counts. So my movement finishes in 3 counts. If my inhalation capacity is 5 counts, then I can go on for a little longer time for the movement. So when I reached here, I still have some capability to inhale. And I exhale from here, and then I start moving down. When I come down, putting my hands down, still I have some more exhalation happening after I finish the movement. That's one important criteria, so that we don't violate our breath and we don't violate our body. So this is one technique which I followed, which is very useful, and it brings the mindfulness in your movement. The next one which I learned is the 4 phases which I've written: form, flow, trace, and draw. Form. So if you can see me in this, right? Can you see me in full, at least till the bust? You can see me? Yeah. So now I move my hand from this is a form A, where I'm seated in the chair, right? Now I'm moving into form B. This is B. Okay. Now there are 4 dynamics to this movement. What I say is, now first one is I'm only focused onto the form. When I normally asana practices are done in repetitions. You can have 3 repetitions, you can have 4 repetitions. So mindlessly, instead of doing these repetitions, what I practice is, you can bring form, flow. The thing is gone. Is it okay?
It's okay, you are fully visible now.
Okay, you don't want the sharing?
No, you were fine. No, we want to look at you.
Okay. Okay. So now form means how do I sit?
Kartika, slides can be shut down. We want to see you.
All right. Okay. Right. Is it okay now?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm seeing a gallery view. I'll just put it.
Yes, it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now I see myself how I'm seated. This is form A, and how I move here and to become form B. So the first repetition, I'll focus in my form. Am I sitting upright? Am I having my feet on the ground? Is my shoulders relaxed? How am I starting my form A? All of us can start with this to get an experience. So we move from form A to form that is B. Where is B? How do I refine my form B's? Arms by the side of the ears and extending my arms up, and that is B. And then come back again to form A, hands down, shoulders relaxed, and come back. So this is the first way of looking at the movement. The second way of looking at the movement is the flow. How is my shoulder movement in the flow? How is it moving all the way up? When it is rising above the shoulders, how is it going? When it's coming down, how is it going? So let's start experiencing that. Inhale and start the movement. How is the flow? Is it jerks anywhere? And move down. Exhale and move down. How is the movement here? So one more time. Inhale to move. How is the flow? From the right to the left, is there a difference? In the shoulder range, is there a difference? Exhale. The third one is the trace. Trace is, I see the movement ahead of me. That means there's some movement happening and I'm following that impulse. It's like a wave taking me to that form. And the movement is visualized ahead of me and my hands are tracing that impulse. This is the third dynamics. You can see yourself, there is an impulse or moving ahead and my hands are tracing that impulse to reach that form. And there is an impulse moving down and I'm just tracing that in my hand and to bring down to the form. This is the third one. The fourth dynamics is, of course, I'm drawn. So I'm here in form A. I place my space already. I see myself in my space in form B already. So I'm here, but my visualization is there. So I fit into that like a puzzle. I go and fit into that. Now I'm here. I'm already visualizing the hands down and that form A, which was there, and I'm fitting into that. So with that visualization, if you do, there is some more mindfulness in the moment. So let's do it one more time. You are drawn to the hands above form. You see yourself already seated there. You just fit into that. There's much more ease when you do with this. So this helped me to get into postures which was difficult for me. And actually it was relaxing the facial layers. So these are the ways I saw the movement to be. So this is one trick, the principle of asana, the movement, how you have the dynamics in movement and repetition, and how do we breathe in different ways of breathing. So we all know when through the day we have no clue how we breathe. Most of us, we don't even pay attention. But when we start paying attention, now I invite you to start sitting in wherever you're seated, sit in an upright posture. You can have a support for your back. If you're not able to sit upright, you can have a support with a chair, or you can towards the wall, you can sit. And start observing your breath. However it is, right now, at this moment, how do you see your breath? The inhalation phase and the exhalation phase. Just stay with your normal range. No forceful inhalation, no forceful exhalation. Now, while you're observing the breath, also start observing the movement happening in your body. Which part of your body is moving with inhalation much? Which part is moving with exhalation? Keep breathing within your range and understand the movement happening in your body. Now I want you to keep one hand on the chest and one hand on the abdomen, upper part of the abdomen, that is closer to the solar plexus. And now start inhaling and see what happened to the hands. What happened to either of these hands in inhalation phase and exhalation phase. Keep breathing normally. So what I feel is now we need to regulate the breath for a thoraco-abdominal breathing. That is the diaphragmatic breathing. So how do I do it? So I inhale, let my chest expand within the range of my breath. Not like this. We don't do that. So we have to do very slowly to an extent we are comfortable. And towards the end of inhalation, you find the hand on the abdomen should also move out. And while exhalation, the hand on the abdomen moves in and then the chest hand falls back. You can observe my breathing. the chest expands. Towards the end of inhalation, the abdomen expands. The abdomen contracts, the chest falls down. Inhale and exhale with this focus, 3 breaths. Now you can bring your hands down to the thighs, legs. This is what we practice just now is thoraco-abdominal breathing, diaphragmatic breathing. I'll take you through thoracic breathing, that is empowered breathing. I'll tell you how it is. It's called fuller breath. Okay. So how do we do that? Now inhale, the chest is expanding from the front. If you're seated in a chair, have a support for your back. Now you must feel when you're inhaling, the chest is moving forward. Also the spine touching the chair which you're seated, wherever you're seated. So can you expand your chest anteriorly, also a gentle movement posteriorly. In one inhalation, not like every inhalation I do one. In one inhalation, can I expand the front of the chest and also the back of my chest? This is one step. Next step is same inhalation, expand the front chest and the back of the chest. Arms, the shoulders also move up. So the third part is also joined together. So there are 3 parts joining together in inhalation: the chest anterior part, the posterior part, and then the rise of the shoulders. Now the 4th step is to add the rib cage on the sides. When your hands are hanging down, feel the expansion of the hand of this expansion of the rib cage, the armpit, under the armpit. You could feel that. So now the chest expansion posteriorly, the spine touching the back of your chair, the shoulders raising up, and your chest expansion. All around there is an expansion, which is a fuller breath. All your lobes are filled in with air, and this is called empowered thoracic breathing. So we can do that 3 breaths and see what happens. So inhale within your capacity, not to push your inhalation. Watch every part of you. Even if you can't expand it, just visualize as if it's expanding. Exhale free. 3 breaths just focused on inhalation, exhalation free. Now the third type of breathing, we can come back, and third type of breathing is abdomen breathing. There are 3 different types, and 3 types, all these 3 types brings a different state of the mind. First one we spoke about is the diaphragmatic breathing, thoraco-abdominal breathing. Second one is the empowered thoracic breathing. The third one, which I'm going to tell you, is the abdomen breathing. Abdomen breathing is very common, and people, most of the schools will focus on that, but it is not so well done. But it's like a flabby abdomen going out and in. So what is abdomen breathing? To get to know abdomen breathing, you have to be in a supine position. Never mind. Now today we are just being seated. We can take it in this. The abdomen goes out on inhalation. It comes back on exhalation. Pull it as much as it can closer to your spine when you exhale, and expand it gently and open it out. This is what abdominal breathing is about. When you want to practice it and make it efficiently to happen, whenever at home you lie down on a supine position, keep on some object in this place. Very light object, not very heavy, but you should feel the object. Keep it on the supine position, and when you inhale, try and lift this object, and exhale, try and not a jerky lifting, jerky coming back. Very gentle flow, and very gentle flow to come back. That's how we practice abdomen breathing while we are supine. So the 3 different kinds of breathing can bring you 3 states of mind. Why do I need to know this? And also there is something more deeper to this, as the pranayama teaches us the practices, something called Chandra Vedana, Surya Vedana, and Nadi Shuddhi Pranayama. So Ma'am, I would like somebody to remind me if I'm going off shooting my time, because I can speak for hours when I talk about it. So if you kindly remind me 5 minutes before that, I shouldn't cross the time. Somebody could tell me that. So Chandra Vedana is your relaxing exercise pranayama, where you are stimulating your moon energy. Moon energy means cooling energy. It is that we have nadis, which is yoga calls it as nadi, because these are the channels through which a prana moves through. And there are main nadis which they talk about as the Ida and Pingala. Very gross way, we can look at this Ida and Pingala as a sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. The impact of these nadis, or almost in a very, 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 very subtle way, we can take that. Grosser way, to bring it to a scientific understanding, we can say it is a sympathetic and parasympathetic. So Ida is basically the cooling energy. Pingala is the invigorating, warm energy. So one is the moon energy, another one is the sun's energy. So one is called Ida, another one is called Pingala. One stimulates the Ida, one stimulates the Pingala. So when I breathe through my left nostril, I'm stimulating certain energy. When I breathe through my right nostril, I'm stimulating certain energy by pointing on these nadis, right? So pranayama practices are done to balance our energy. The day when I'm agitated, very anxious, the day foreseen to be very going to be fast moving. So how do I start my day? I take foreseeing the day, I start practicing the balancing pranayama practice. So how do? I do Chandra Vedana few times, that is 10 breaths of Chandra Vedana, and then I do the Nadi Shuddhi Pranayama, which is balancing my Ida and Pingala. Suppose if the day I feel so lethargic and really don't want to get up, of course, most of the time, so most of us do have at some phases, that means your body needs that little bit of relaxing. That's a different thing from always I feel lethargy, and these days I really need a push to get out of the bed. So that lethargy sets in, means your tamas is more in your body. So to get this out, you have the solar invigorating energy. So that time I do the Chandra Vedana, Surya Vedana, few practices, and then balance through Nadi Shuddhi. Now let's see what is Chandra Vedana, Surya Vedana, and Nadi Shuddhi Pranayama. So let's sit in a comfortable position. The main focus in pranayama is the spine uprightness. Whether you're lying, whether you're seated with the support, wherever, but make as much possible your uprightness in the spine. Shoulders are relaxed, eyes are closed. Now start observing the breath in you, passing through both the nostrils, in and out, 3 breaths. Now, take a mudra. We call this as Mrigi Mudra, right? Open your hands, fold these 2 hands, and this one. So thumb is closing one nostril. These 2 together are kept. But if this is too difficult, you can have this and this, like this and this, like this and this. This also is fine. If that is also difficult, you can do this and this. It's also fine. Suit yourself. Stay within your comfort zone and slowly take into your baby steps to reach where you really need to go. So the mudra which we take generally is, there is a science to this mudra. This is called Mrigi Mudra. Why do we have these 2 fingers together? It means the pressure and the exertion of the pressure point is even, because this is almost like the width of the thumb, right? Thumb is giving pressure on one side, just press closing, so same way. And whenever we do a pressure, it's between the hard portion, that is the cartilage, and the soft portion, gentle, not pushing a nose like this. It should be always gentle and just a gentle pressure. So we need to have an even gentle pressure, so we do this. Keeping the hand not like this, it will be hurting. So keeping your hand is supported, preferably like this, so that you can do that. So you can take breaths as many as possible, but now we are going to do 3 sets of each breath. Now we have seen the breaths normally. Now we go into Chandra Vedana. Closing your right nostril. Keep the other hand in Chin Mudra on your lap. Inhale from your left nostril. Exhale from your right nostril. Again, inhale from your left. Exhale from your right. One last time. Bring your hands down. Breathe in and out 3 times through both the nostrils. Now we close the left nostril. Inhale from the right nostril. And exhale from the left. Inhale from the right. Exhale from the left. And last time. And exhale left. Bring your hands down. Breathe in and out from both the nostrils. Now, the last will be an overlap between what we did before. Inhale from your left nostril. Exhale from your right. Inhale from your right. Exhale from the left. This is one cycle. We're going to do 3 cycles. Start again. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Exhale and left. 2 more cycles by yourself. Then bring your hands down and observe your breath. 3 breaths passing through both the nostrils, in and out. And gently open your eyes. So now what we did was the cooling part, the warming part, and the balancing part. So depending on my day's energy, if I want to start my day mindfully, I see how is my energy today at this moment. It varies. I may be an energetic person, but that particular day, my energy is exhausted. So how do I empower myself? So I do this empowering breathing through the Surya Vedana, and then I balance my breath through Nadi Shuddhi, so that I'm not overbeat only on a Surya Vedana. I'm balancing these two. And then I enter into the day's events. So practices, even yoga practices, inhalation-based practices are invigorating. Exhalation-based practices are relaxing. So you can draw your own course. That's what individualized practice really helps quite a lot. I understand my body and I draw a course according to that. And then I practice this, whether I'm, where I want this energy today to happen so that I'm mindfully at work. I want this way to happen and I'm mindfully at work. So these are all the practices which we have in yoga. So we can do movements if we have time, just about the upper body stretches, because we all sit in the computers So I can give you a few practices to relax your upper back and then we can close the session. So the simple movement, now we have to inhale and move our hands up. Bring the principle of asana. Exhale and start moving. And you need to exhale even further. Inhale and start. Exhale and go. One last time. Next set will be we inhale and move, holding the hands together. Exhale, bring your hands back of your head. Inhale, arch your back a little bit gently. Your gaze facing up. And then exhale, press your head down, elbows folded in. Exhale out. Now inhale again back, opening the chest. Exhale, come to the center. Inhale, hands up. Exhale and hands down. One more time. Inhale all the way up. Stretching your spine. Hold the hands and bring the hands down on exhalation. Inhale and arch it. A gentle arching back, upper back. Exhale, press your hands against the head. Bring your head down. Inhale and gently look up. Please stay within your range. Some of us may have a little vertigo and things like that. So you have to be careful in the range of movement. Exhale and come to the midpoint. Inhale and raise your arms. Exhale and hands. One more time. And hands down on exhalation. Inhale. Exhale. Bring it to the center. And then hands up. Bring down. Next will be inhale, open your hands up. Exhale, this hand comes to the left, the other hand goes. Body turns to the left, slants to the left. Inhale and come back. Exhale and then move that side. Inhale and then come back. Exhale, hands. One more time. Exhale, this hand comes to the left, the other hand takes the body to that side, lateral bend. All the time, make sure that legs are touching the floor. And one last time. Exhale and bend. Inhale and open your chest. Exhale and bend. Inhale and open your chest. Exhale and hands down. You just do a forward bend. Inhale. Exhale and go down wherever you're comfortable. Gentle forward bend. Inhale and come up. Exhale and hands down. One more time. Inhale. Gentle forward bend. And hands down. And come up. On inhalation. Exhale. Hands down. One last time. Inhale. And seeing that energy flowing all through the body. Come back on inhalation. Exhale and hands down.
2 more minutes. Ma'am.
Keep seated there with your, watch your breath.
Madam, 5 more minutes, madam.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Close your eyes. And gently open your eyes. Thank you so much. Actually, these are very small practices and small tips which I do in my day-to-day practice and which I shared with you. So I hope it is some tips you have taken today for your practices. Of course, you need a teacher to closely observe and monitor. But these are things which you can always build over. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share.
Thank you, madam, for all the
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, Dr. Katkani, for giving us an insight into starting with the eggs, that is ovum and corpus callosum and mitochondrial DNA and wisdom in menstrual cycles and how we have to identify them. Menopause is not a shutdown. Menopause is not a shutdown. It's the beginning of a new life. So it is nice, encouraging words, ma'am. And to end up with all the simple exercises which make us feel like yoga is possible for everybody. Yoga is possible for everybody, because when you say yoga, you always visualize people with thin physiques doing that, depending on all that. People like me who are little on the obese side can also get to do this. Thank you so much, madam, for giving all the tips in a very, very easy way, madam, easy, assimilable way. Thank you so much, ma'am. And I know it was a very, very encouraging session for all of us, especially for us who have entered menopause. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shanti ma'am. Thank you, Dana ma'am. Shobna ma'am, anything to say, ma'am? Ma'am, muted. Unmute, please, ma'am.
Nice to have so many people who are willing to come and teach us using their spare time, you know. They're also practicing doctors and they are taking time off to come and teach us. We are really grateful to you for this activity of Indian Menopause Society, madam.
Thank you so much. Actually, community is what going to see the human being. No, we need to come together as a community, whatever steps we take, and that really, really empowers the society, and in a positive way. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share my thoughts with you.
Thank you.
Manita ma'am.
Hello.
Ma'am, anything to say, ma'am?
Yeah, she has explained in a wonderful way, because the breathing is very important part of all the exercise, and going slow with the motions is very, very important. Whether it's yoga or any type of exercise, you have to go slowly. And what she said, Karthi, is that feel it. You have to really feel the motion, feel the breathing, and feel all this relaxation going to your mind. And that's what she was doing, feeling it. So yoga is yoga of feeling.
Thanks, ma'am. Now I invite Dr. Tamil, Honorary Secretary, Chennai Menopause Society, to deliver vote of thanks.
Thank you, Deepa. At the outset, I think I have to say it was such a wonderful session and feel so relaxed at the end of the day actually while doing these exercises. So thank you, madam. I would like to begin the vote of thanks with thank you to Dr. Hepsiba madam for organizing this session on Yoga Day. And I would like to thank our guests of honor and chief guest, Dr. Maghinder Ahuja and Dr. Shobna Mohandas, who not only came and gave us the welcome speech and addressed us, but also stayed back until the end and stayed with us to do the yoga. So thank you, both of you. And special thanks, obviously, to our chairpersons who were actually enjoying it because your videos were on. We were able to see how they actually enjoyed the yoga session. And thank you so much. Thank you, Deepa, for conducting the session. And obviously, without even thinking, we have to thank Dr. Katyayani for giving us such a wonderful session and on all the tips and tricks. And one thing which always used to confuse us is when to inhale, when to exhale, when you do all these steps. And she gave us a very clear idea of how to do that. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Hope to see you all soon in the next Chennai Menopause Society meeting.
Okay, goodbye.
Thank you. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karthik.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Nice demonstration. Thank you.